Hey there, I am so glad you're here. Come on in and enjoy Coffee Chat at the Cubbyhole. Okay, you might be thinking, coffee sounds fun, but girl, what is the Cubbyhole? The Cubbyhole was a divine little nudge on my heart, if you will, to build the space in our basement, in our home, where our friends and family could come and receive encouragement and love. And that's exactly what we've been doing. I've always known that the Cubbyhole would have a ripple effect out into the world, that it could bring encouragement and hope, not just to people that could visit here in person. That is exactly why I do Coffee Chats. I get to take some of the coolest people that are just like you and just like me, who have skill and talent, but most importantly, they have a vulnerable, relatable story that we can all glean some hope and encouragement from. So grab a coffee, cozy up, and enjoy Coffee Chats at the Cubbyhole.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee Chats at the Cubbyhole. Can you see me? I hope you can. I can't see too much because there's a bit of a glare on my phone, but you guys, I am so glad you're here. I am not in the Cubbyhole. Today, I am so lucky to be by this beautiful body of water in what we call Northern Michigan. I'm so excited to be here for so many different reasons, and I'm going to tell a little bit more about that story in a minute. But I want to start with you. I want to ask you a question. Do you love every single day the way you might be showing up in life? That's question number one. Number two, do you have people in your life that just really, well, the only way to say it is they just grind you. They get under your skin. They make you angry. They frustrate you. Well, we all have a story. Our stories are so important because the way that we show up in life, the byproducts of everything around us in our life, our emotions, they're always rooted in a story. So today, what we are going to unpack is the concept of having a spirit of rejection. A spirit of rejection can come from when we were little. Maybe it was when we were a young adult. Maybe it was from yesterday that we could feel a spirit of rejection. And sometimes what we do is we take the beautiful magnificence of us that we might have felt, or maybe we never even had a chance to feel it, and we stuff it somewhere in the basement. And then the byproduct of that is we show up in so many different ways. We're going to talk about all the emotions and the different ways that we can show up. So you know what I'm going to do? I cannot wait to bring my beautiful guest on right now. Her name is Laura Miller, and she is joining me. Let me see the new technology out here. Laura Miller is joining me from a pavilion on a picnic table somewhere in Kentucky. And I hope that everybody can see you because I can't see you. There you are. Hey, girl.
You better see me. Good morning.
Hi.
Hi,
Oh, my gosh. I am so excited to have you here for so many reasons. And I can't wait to talk about all that. Okay, I know. You know what? One of the reasons that I almost canceled for today was because I wanted to have you in the Cubbyhole, whether it was virtually or live. But you know what I did? I brought the Cubbyhole to you.
What?
Here's the
love
Cubbyhole.
it. Yay!
This sign has been to Wiley, Texas when we did a remote version. And so this is the a little mini version of the Cubbyhole sign.
I love it.
So
I love it.
I'm going to talk more about that sign later. It just dawned on me because there's a real significance. But girl, hey, good morning.
Hey. Good morning. I miss you.
I miss you too. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh, so much I'm going to say about Laura. But Laura, I was able to have coffee with her for so many years. And we just laughed until our faces hurt. And and I miss you since you've moved. But
I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Now listen, Laura, I was telling the story last night about how I almost canceled. I did cancel. I canceled because As I was saying last night, I'm tucked in the woods here for a week by myself writing my book. And I contacted you and said, I know I'm going to be doing this during this week. It has to be this week, but I have to cancel because I didn't know if I wanted to, like, focus on anything else but the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then so many things transpired from them. I came to this town. I thought my book was done. I realized that the last chapter of my book happened in this city. And
Mm-hmm.
sitting in one of these Adirondack chairs, there was this little whisper from God that said, you need to come back to this body of water and be baptized.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
wow.
was like,
That's
wow. And so then I thought, okay, awesome. And I wrote about it in the last chapter of my book. It's called Faith Alone. Then it hit me. I have to do coffee chats live from this body of water, guys. Do you know why? Because this beautiful woman, of course, I was baptized as a baby. Thank you, Mama. But this beautiful woman, Laura Miller, and our other friend, Vicki Meehan, were the two women that just spontaneously I felt sitting having coffee at Vicky's house that I needed to walk out into the body of water in Sears Lake in Milford, Michigan, and be baptized right then in my clothes. And you
Yeah.
guys, I didn't even know what that meant. I knew I felt it, but I didn't even fully know what it meant to be baptized. I just felt it. You guys walked me out. September 17th, 2015, you guys baptized me. And when I felt this calling to be baptized here, a rebaptism, a renewing of
Mm-hmm.
my dedication to Jesus, I was like, God, unbelievable. Of course, I need to have Laura on with this body of water behind me because the connection is so clear. Girl,
So,
you know what we say
so
about, I love a good weave. You know I love
I love your weave. Okay, let's just be honest about that.
Oh my gosh. So Laura, oh my gosh, and we were talking about how it's been so cool, but there's no way for you to be here, but I am so overjoyed and honored that you and Vicki were baptized me. And what if, so this
Glorious
is what this is
moment.
about. I
Glorious.
love that it's my story, but this is about God and the way that he works and that he orchestrates in our life. He orchestrates in such a beautiful way and such a beautiful different weaves in our life. And I'm just overjoyed that I had the eyes to see this. So
So awesome. It was a
I
glorious
love.
time. Beautiful time.
So one of the things that you and I used to laugh about, and by the way, I brought my Bible with me. I always have it sitting next to me. This page right here, I sent a picture of this to you the other day. This
I'm not on the
page, I've
Mr.
got my.
Bubble in there.
Remember, Vicki always had the Mr. Bubble sticky notes, and
Yes,
these
yes,
notes right here from Laura. Your name is all over this book. Well, we know that
yeah.
because our names are written
Right in
in
the
this
middle
book.
of, please God help her with everything.
Please. So many times your name is written in there because they were the notes and something that you've said to me. You've spoken so much life into me, and my faith journey wouldn't be the same without so many different people, a handful of people, and you are one of those anchor
Oh,
sisters. So thank you. But one of the things we always used to joke about, okay, let's just talk about the funny, the everyday that we had. Like you, oh my God, I learned that Laura was Puerto Rican. This girl, okay, so what, you got to tell everybody, what is your official Puerto Rican name, girl? Where's
okay,
your
first of
sombrero?
all, I could not find a sombrero. I mean, I went to the local place. I'm like, can I have one of your hats? And they're like, get out of here. No. So this is the official name. Hola, I am Juanito Rosito Rosario Gomez. Rosa Gomez.
Russo Gomez. Russo Gomez.
Rosa
People are
Gomez.
looking at me like, who is she talking to?
Yeah, I've got some people taking a walk right here going, you need some prayer? Yeah.
Oh, there's people walking up the pier, like just wanting to have a nice, quiet little walk. And here I am with all my noise.
Oh,
Oh
this
my
is such a
gosh.
joy.
Oh,
That was so fun.
so, so much that we can talk about. But look, I only get so much time with you this morning, and I want to take a deep dive, hard turn into our topic, girl. And I can't see you. I can't see anything. I'm just praying that we are both on there.
Oh my
But I
God.
just want to take a quick turn
Okay.
and get into our topic. So you and I talked last week, and what's really cool is a lot of times we don't even know what the topic is. when I start talking to my guests. And you and I just started chatting. Well, you and I started chatting about, and then it morphed into all these other beautiful discoveries and breakthroughs. First thing we started talking about is about your actual life, like your physical life. You have moved a lot. And that's been hard on you because security, being in one spot, is important to you, but you love your husband so much. You love your family. And your husband works for the FBI. So it is, had a lot of opportunity for change and moving. But we started talking about how that was hard for you. And sometimes you feel like you're in the wilderness, like literally living in the wilderness you do, but also feeling like it was such a metaphor for life. So not only is it hard for you physically that you move around, it morphed into this discussion of feeling like you're in the wilderness in life, looking for a clearing, which then morphed into other conversations. We just kept digging and digging and going into that onion. And, deep in the onion, when you get closer to the inside of the onion, that's where the tears are.
Absolutely.
We made this discovery about a deep-rooted story in your life, and we're going to unpack all this. I'm just giving the overview. We touched on a place. I was asking you because I knew about your relationship with your mom, and I asked you if you had ever considered that deep-rooted feelings of a story with your mom and the absence of her in your life, you think might have been rooted to that, and you felt that that was absolutely the case. So that is the general overview. Go, girl. No.
Nope.
So
I
let's
never
start
really,
with you moving around.
I didn't really think about that until we discussed it the other day. The rejection part, yes, I felt it. And, did the whole later on in life, it just kind of acted out in different ways growing up. But, you get to that place where you think you're okay, you're fine. And, but what I found in the moving that I've done, it is just something that we needed to do. I mean, God has been so faithful and he continues to be faithful, but I'm still, fleshy, and I'm about security because I lacked it or felt that I didn't when it came to my mom. And so I have an awesome dad, but not having a mom growing up was just a little rough. And so there's lots of stories here. I see them all the time with the kids that I talk to. So it's nothing new. It's just in my own life. It would come out that the need for security from that place of someone's going to leave me. Like at that time I was 7. I was 7 years old, and the most important was gone. The most important person in that role was gone. And so I thought, not at that time, but as I grew up, I'm going to be the mom that doesn't leave. I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be the everything. I'm going to make sure everything is set the way it needs to be. Nope, none of my kids are not going to feel like I'm absent, but here I am. And probably some of that's the Puerto Rican is out of it. But some of the control, like I'm going to go above. Like I'm going to be not so much helicopter, but there was a control there. Like, okay, don't wear that, or don't, you can't go there. And this is what's going to happen if you do. It all stemmed from that place of needing to feel secure. And no one's going to abandon me. I'm not going to allow it. And in that place of not allowing it, the control. So then that presents a whole chaos, a whole mess. And so in my walk, and I still struggle. It's not like it's all gone and I'm, epitome of perfection by any means. It's just I'm aware of it, and the Lord is he's just awesome. He's like I was telling you the other day. In your weakness, meaning you're a Miller, I'm strong. So my grace is sufficient. Lord, why do we have to pack another box? My grace is sufficient. Lord, I'm moving to another state. How am I my grace is sufficient. And it's this constant, you are reaching for the wrong thing to anchor. I'm your anchor. I'm your anchor. And so that's been the growth for me. It's not that I never feel that. It's just, I know where my anchor is now. It's not, and I'll have those elements of control. You talk to my kids like, oh my gosh, get her out of here. but it's still a place of, okay, Father, I know that's where I'm at. It's not good. I messed up today. I'm not the perfect mom. I'm looking at all these other moms. They all have it together. I do not. What have I done wrong? What is going on with me? That's almost in my script. That's in my script.
It's in your script. Okay, your script. So that leads me to a list of things, little byproducts that I want to talk about. I want to see how they've shown up in your life, because the whole reason I do this show is to shine a light on my guest's story. But the most important reason I want to shine that light is because it is about the people that are watching, because God gives us the responsibility of stories.
Right.
And crosses to carry, burdens to carry. And it's about the viewer and how they can take the light that comes from your story and let it shine on their life. So I want to take a step back. But first of all, what I want to get back to in a minute, like that end point of what you talked about finding Jesus, him being your anchor. That is it. Like for me, I totally get that. Totally get that. And as you and I both know, because sister, you were my mentor for so long. You sat there in that chair having coffee with me going, I was angry. I was like, I don't understand this. I get frustrated when people mention Jesus. I don't get it. And you guys were so patient with me. And so this whole show is my people that I have my eye on the most is that version of me. Where they're like, okay, I get it with Jesus, but I don't know what you're talking about. Click, I'm zoning out. So I want to get to that in a minute about your process toward Jesus. But what I want to do is just sit right now in what you were just referring to, were these little, like your husband's with the FBI, these little pieces of evidence, you know, that we have to go and look. We don't even know that they're there. So many people have anxiety and depression. Their family life is just wreaking havoc. Their relationships are in the tank, either with a spouse or a loved one or a friend or a child. And it's because these byproducts show up and they're sneaky, they're crafty. So I want to talk about these. If you felt these, tell me how they are related to your life. Okay. So like you were talking about spirit of rejection and all that it showed up in your life. And these are the ones that I mentioned earlier on a promo. So let's just dive into passive aggression. Did you ever find yourself doing that? Did you beat yourself up for it? How did that look in your life?
Passive aggressive.
I don't even know. I've never asked you this. I have no idea.
Did you say passive aggression?
Passive aggression. Yeah, I know I've done it, you know, where it's like we don't trust. So
yes, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that for me, that kind of looked like I don't know what the word is, but if I could paint a scenario, I would be inside is this tumultuous, like I just want to swim, because everything that's happening in my wilderness, in my moving and all of that, and bringing my kids and dealing with that anger and dealing with that sadness and all of that, keeping it together. And then I'd be this, oh, isn't life wonderful? And oh, we're just going to have such a wonderful time in this new place. And it wasn't, okay? It wasn't. It was just, and it comes out yelling at my kids. It comes out in this persona. Now, see, my husband would call me, oh no, is it what did he call me? Ursula. Is it time for Ursula to come out? Okay.
Well, yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, Juanita can totally trample on Ursula. Juanita Lopez can trample on Ursula. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole different degree of passive aggressive.
What's the rest of the name? Is it Selena Gomez? What is it?
It's Juanita Russo Rosario Gomez.
Okay, what you just said. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that Sean said that to you, because oh my gosh, I want to chew my hand off, because I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer in that board of directors, that advisory board that's in our head. I actually, when I do talks, I put a big long picture of all these faces up there. We've got Cruella DeVille. We have the Flying Nun.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Sandy from the final scene of Grease. Mommy Dearest.
Okay, now Sandy from the final scene of Grease, that's my favorite. Okay. Like I've got some leather pants. Now I can only get past my calf. but I don't care. I'm going to walk around with them on my cap. You got to call me Sandy today.
Oh my gosh. And sometimes we want to dress like that, or we feel like that on the inside. And then we're just, oh, there we go. There's a perfect example. Like, you feel like that. You want to go out on a date, and your husband's like sitting there and he's got a ham sandwich on his chest and he's falling asleep. And you're like, I feel like Sandy on the inside. So that, oh my God, see, this is what's going to happen. We will, I know, I'm going to end up, you and I trying to have a conversation is like, we're up. Okay, I'm coming back. The board of directors, he called you Ursula. Was that right?
Ursula.
Right. Yeah, because, okay, what you just said is reflective of the fact that all those advisory boards, all those versions of us come out. And here's another byproduct word I wanted to get to is the word shame or guilt. We can handle all those right in what you've said. Yes. Because then if somebody calls us that, or somebody says, you need to just quit feeling that way, you're acting like a victim. Why are you so angry? We have to understand that with them and us, we all have a story and it's rooted somewhere.
Right.
You're Ursula.
Ursula, you got to kind of compartmentalize. But Ursula is part of the journey. Ursula is one that needs to be taken care of. Ursula is not someone that you got to put in a box because she's too lethal. Ursula is the one that you got to take out of the box and go, okay, let me talk some life to you. Let me speak to this, because I really believe in my own walk, that is what the Lord has done for me. And it's not perfect every day. It's not. I just yelled at my kid this morning, and she's probably going to go around going, I know you think my mom's nice, but she's not. Okay.
So there's that, and then that inferiority complex creeps in, like, I try to be this, but I'm not.
And you're looking at and you're looking around going, why can't I get myself together? Why is this my thing? Why can't I be that mom, or why can't I be that wife? And what in the world? And so when I sit with the Lord, I'm saying, okay, what's going on with me? Well, that's just it. You're focusing on you. Your whole gig is not so much to ignore what's happening, but understand who's the maker of that girl.
Yes.
And there's abandonment in, I think every person can feel an element of abandonment. I absolutely felt that. And I knew just one day, okay, I'm not gonna be like, it went from the sorrow, it went from the hurt and all of that to then anger. And from anger it went, I don't need you. And then it went to a big dose of self-sufficiency. And so in that self-sufficiency, I'm good, but people that see me out, oh my gosh, she's always in a good mood. She's always, and I'm not saying any of that's not real, because it is, but I'm not always on. And when I get home, my family gets the Ursula. So a lot of the times, and that's when I feel the biggest, like, okay, I screwed up again today. And then the Lord speaks to my heart, listen, your help does not come from those around you. Your help does not come from the mountains. Your help does not come there. Your help is me. I created you. This is part of your story. I'm going to see you through it. You're not going to be perfect till you're on the other side with me. And so it is a work in progress. And I have to get that same mentality when that control issue comes out, when that feeling of, I'm going to get abandoned again. I've got to get out my claws and my clutches, and I've got to get into this place of aggression, because it's going to rock my world. It's almost like God has used this. Each one of these moves has been this layer of, you don't need that thing. You don't need that thing. This is where I need you. I need you to just separate your security definition, that it's a location, it's a thing, it's a place. It's me. It's me.
So much power in what you're saying, Laura, because I just want to just sit there for a second. When you were talking, I was thinking about, there's so many different versions of us, like I said, the advisory board, but the two headlines are the wounded self and the authentic self. And the authentic version is that that version that really does shine in us when we're out there going, just being, want to be a light, you want to be happy, because there's that version of us
Absolutely.
that's when we think of the most joyful version, that's that version. That's the
Yes.
authentic one.
And
But
that's
then
real.
there's the one
That's
that
real.
it's not fake, it's very real.
Right.
But then there's that version of us that we kind of is hurt and
Yes.
a feeling of abandonment or whatever it is, and that we take that beautiful version of us and we stuff it down in the basement. So then it seems so counterintuitive. It seems so what's the word? I'll think of the word. But when you go home and everybody's like, oh, you may feel like everybody's like, oh, you're so great to the world.
Yes.
Like a hypocrite. You feel like a hypocrite.
Yes.
And then you beat yourself up. Now you're
Yeah.
feeling more and more wounded.
Well,
So
then that's right. And
because
that's where
go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's just where the wounded part. Now that's a good word. And I actually wrote down, you had said it earlier, muck boots. And that's how I describe some of this walk. It's like, okay, here we go. Let's get my muck boots on because it's going to be rough. And
Muck boots. Oh.
And I have been said, they have said to me, how come you're not like that? You are, but you're not real. I mean, we get this other version or whatever. They don't use the word version, but it's, whatever they say about it. And I'm like, that's real. That part's real, but I love what you said when you said authentic self. And what was the other part? What did you say?
The wounded versus
part.
authentic.
That you just verbalized something that I could not. And actually that brings me comfort. Okay. So thank you.
Oh, I love that. I love that because it's, when we are with the people that we love, they get I don't, but sometimes we say when we're with the people we love, they get the real version of us. That's not the real version. The real version is that version that we get to be in heaven. That version, that peaceful, feel no more pain. They get the wounded version of us, because here's the anchor to what you're talking about is feeling rejection. And your family is not going to reject you when you are acting in that wounded version of you. When that advisory board makes you feel like Cruella or whatever, you can do that, and that that they're going to love you. So it is actually a safe place.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So anyway, so other ways that the feeling, the spirit of rejection shows up is one thing that you alluded to, and it's so funny. I saw this in you, and you probably saw this in me when we first met, because I would see that Lolita Lalato de Reto Rosario. Like, you were just, every time I saw you at school, like when you would go to school and work in the school, you would skip through the hallways. It was like, I felt like you were like Snow White with the birds chirping around you. And then as we got to know each other, we got to know our real hearts and our real stories.
Right.
And one of the things that I learned about you, and you saw it in me too, is that I learned, and we talked about this, that you would squelch your own grace. You would not. Everybody else gets to have your grace. They get to have the beautiful, they get to be forgiven. But you, when it came to you, beating yourself up, had to be perfect. And by the way, I admired you because you're that perfect mom in the schools you have well, I say perfect mom with quotes, like you're doing the activities, and I'm like, oh, there was a memo.
Please. Okay.
I got the memo. Yes. And then I'm frantically searching for the memo. You're that mama.
I remember you coming into the lunchroom, and I had Kailani. She was in my kindergarten. So I had her for lunch and recess, and I think Riley was in the same grade, but she was had a different teacher. And I remember you coming through the lunchroom, and I'm not joking. It's almost like it went from crazy train at the kindergarten table to all of a sudden slow motion happened. And here comes this woman, and you probably had a weave on. I don't even know.
Oh, but I was wearing a weave.
I had a weave on. It's like, oh, here comes this woman with a weave. No, I didn't think that. It was just this beautiful. I thought, oh, for the love of God, don't stand next to me. And here we are. First of
Listen.
all, I'm like, oh, for the love, she's tall, and I look like a hobbit, and I better shave my feet when I get home. Okay, so that was that. So, but
I
you
love
are
that you're saying this because I look at you and I'm like, she's so petite and she's so I
good
just
Lord.
we always see it in someone else.
Yes,
Girl, look
you
at with regarding to the weave, I joke that between my press-on toenails, fingernails, my hair, and my lashes, I am snapped together, glued together. But Lord, I am held together by Jesus. I am held together by Jesus.
do you remember? Do you remember when I was in your bathroom? I'm like, let me try it on.
Try it on my weave. Yes. Oh my gosh.
That was awesome.
Oh, always a different hair. But I gotta take a side step and say yesterday when I was doing your promo,
Okay.
the sun's in my eyes. I did not have eyelashes on all week because I'm being baptized. And when I go in and be baptized, I don't want to I want to go in the most authentic, raw, naked version of me I can without getting arrested.
Right,
And
right.
I don't want lashes, all this. So I'm going to pop on, just temporarily put a lash on just to do because I want to. On Facebook,
Girl.
that thing was flapping in the wind. And I'm like, you know what? I am so glad that I was talking about my girl Laura because she gets it.
That's
Eyelashes
hilarious.
flapping in the wind.
That's
But anyway, so back to, oh my God, see what I mean? Here we go. Is that your dog?
No, it's not. No. Sorry.
Okay, let's get back to it. So more byproducts and people pleasing. You know, we talked about this. You and I talked about this.
Yes.
If I sound like I'm screaming at you, let me know. But I'm trying to talk over the waves.
No, you're fine. It's totally good. You're good.
This is my people pleasing. Is everybody okay? Am I screaming? Am I talking too loud? Should I talk?
But I get
That's your
that.
gig. So talk
People
about that,
pleasing.
especially as being a mama, because we can pendulum shift over to people pleasing, where then maybe they have all the control, or vice versa. So how has that shown up in your life?
Well, I think with people pleasing is huge with me, because it almost is in that place of control. If everything is good, if everybody likes me, if I don't show any part of myself that makes people feel uncomfortable, then life is good. So I want people happy, but what it went from at the expense of my own, like I lose myself, and that becomes my focus, and it becomes my mission in life. And that's again, in my walk and in my time with Jesus. Look, this is not it's vertical. Your help is vertical. It's not here. And I'm still in that place of working through, I am enough. I am enough. Why do I know that? How do I know that? Because God says so. He says I'm enough. So that's where I have to bathe for a little while, because I can easily get in that slope of, oh my gosh, I'm not okay. I didn't do that well. I screwed there. Okay, my kids. Oh my gosh, I screamed my head off. I hit that badly. Okay, I'm ignoring my husband because he didn't do exactly what I think he should do, and my world's not in control now, and things are going to fall apart. And it goes all the way back to that place of what I perceive as perfect, when you have a mom, and I got to be what I didn't have. I need to be what I didn't have.
Yeah.
So, but in the process, I'm really hurting myself, and ultimately my family, when I get in that place of just be who I created you to be, Laura, and stay with me. I have created you on purpose. This journey is a journey. It's a story. It's yours. And you're going to be able to speak to some of these mountains. And I'm like, okay, Lord, but this mountain is really high, and I don't know if I can make it over it. Yes, you can, because you're not looking at the mountain. You're looking at the one who created it. So,
yeah.
there.
Well, I don't want,
Okay.
I want to
That's
absolutely
daily.
be sure we get to the, what's that?
I can't hear you very well.
Okay. Hopefully I'll just keep talking. It's probably just a signal. It'll come back. Can you hear me?
A little bit.
So Laura. Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, it's going to go in and out, I think, because we're out here. But So I want to get to, and I want to go back to some of the other stuff later, but I don't want to not talk about this. I've lost Laura, and she will be back. But while she is gone, what I was going to mention is something that I discovered. I've been doing more research out here this week than writing, I think, because this last chapter of my book is called Faith Alone. And I love that, because faith alone, in being out in the woods and in the wilderness, it was another beautiful connection that with Laura and I talking about this topic, that I'm out there actually, having faith alone. But one of hey Laura, I was just talking about something where I was saying that I did a lot of research
There you
this
are.
week, and where I'm out in the wilderness, and you and I happen to be. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you very well.
Look at the bottom and
You're
see if it's
staticky.
Okay.
What?
It'll pop back. I'm going to keep talking.
Okay.
I'll just keep talking, and I'll pop back in. But I know that the signal will, because I trust
You keep
that it
talking.
will. So, okay.
Can you
So what
can
I
you
was
see me
saying
okay
is
or hear
that,
me?
yep, I can see you both. I can see you. So what I was saying is that what I researched was that when we pray, for those of you that don't know Jesus and you think, oh God, he doesn't like me, he didn't answer my prayers. I was researching, and I landed on something in Matthew chapter 21, and in that it says that if you believe and you pray, he will give it to you. And I was like, a while ago I had read that, and I was like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean that we're a vending machine and we can just ask him to give us whatever we want? It's like you rub the lamp of a genie. And when I did further research, it was that we need to trust his will for our life, like what Laura's talking about. Laura, can you hear me? Laura, can you hear me?
Bits and pieces. You're frozen right now, and you should see your frozen faces. It's so but I can't hear you very well.
Darn it. Well, I will, maybe I'll move around. Maybe I'm supposed to go for a walk on the beach. But guys, if you can still hear me, what I was talking about is we need to trust his will. Okay. God does not love us. We need to trust his will, even when we feel like we are in the wilderness. So I'm going to walk around, Laura, and tell me if you can hear me better. I just got a cramp in my leg because I'm out here. It's not a bad day when you have a cramp in your leg and you're on the beach. Okay. I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going toward the pier. Like, that's going to make things better. So, giving yourself grace. Giving yourself grace. Let's how about you hop back off and hop back in?
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, back to what I was saying is that sometimes we feel like we are in the wilderness because God is not. We feel like he's not answering our prayers.
Your voice
you know what?
is a little. It's going in and out.
I'm just gonna. I'll keep talking. I'll pop back in.
I am so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Go out and then come back in. Go out and then come back in.
Okay, so you want me to go out?
We're both gonna go out. You guys stay right there. We'll be right back. If you guys can hear me, can you let me know? Because maybe I won't go out. Maybe it's Laura's signal. Can somebody leave something in the comments if you can hear me? Actually, I'll stay on live because it will cancel out our live stream. But if you can hear me, just let me know. So I'm just gonna keep talking. That sometimes we need to trust in the fact that God has us ultimately. And when Laura comes back, I want to hear more about her story, about how she journeyed there. Because if you're like me for so long, you're like, I don't even know what that means. Don't even throw that in my face. Don't be all righteous with me talking about Jesus because my life feels like a mess. And so sometimes the truth of the matter is, we don't want to rob anybody else, and we certainly don't want to rob ourselves of our own testimony. And when you're walking in the muck, like Laura said, she had her muck boots on. When you're walking in the muck, you feel like you're alone, you're in the wilderness. He has you. You can trust in that. And then when the time is right, that will become so evident and obvious to you in the most beautiful way. Laura, can you hear me?
I can't see you. But I can. I mean, your voice goes in and out. So I'm trying to connect pieces of the words you're saying. Okay, now I don't see you yet.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll go in on my computer. Maybe I'll go in on my computer and then you'll be able to hear me better then. I don't know. Jennifer O'Brien said that she can hear me. So, and I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Jennifer O'Brien, if you're on, let me ask Laura a question. Will you type it out? Okay. Jennifer O'Brien, ask this question and I'll put it up for Laura. We're going to do something. We're just going to roll with this. Jennifer, would you put this up? Ask Laura. Laura, when did you, tell us about your journey toward Jesus. How did that happen for you?
Hey, Marlo? Okay.
We are just
there you are.
We're being tested. We're being tested.
Okay. You know what? I'm telling you, we are. So there you are again. Now
Can you hear
freezing, me? But hopefully I can hear you, but you're in that frozen place. But that frozen place is kind of, it's fun. Oh, there you are. You're live again. I'm just going to watch you because this is like a sitcom. Okay, Laura. Oh, thank you. You guys will have to forgive me because I'm not used to being on. Okay. Tell us about Journey to Jesus. Okay. Wow, that is a big question. I've had a lot of pit stops and a lot
Ask
of
her how she learned to trust.
How I learned to trust him. Well, I think with my mom leaving was a big, huge marker. And the Lord placed in my life women, they were older as I grew up, to just kind of pour into my life. And I didn't realize that those were gifts, but they were women that loved the Lord. And so like one I remember one woman, she actually took me bra shopping. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And she did. And it was, and I think I was like 30. Okay, so there you go. And she just talked to me. She just talked to me about Jesus and how much he loved me. And I will tell you that in the different parts of my life, I began to see where he was just in walking with him. And when I say walking with him, that means just spending time with him and being in his word. Now, did I know where to start? No, I even asked somebody, where do I even start? And they just said, just start in the gospel, start in Matthew, start in John.
Yeah. Guys, she's gone away and we're going to edit this out. Or maybe we'll leave it because you know what? This is the way life shows up. Life is not perfect. And we don't expect anything to be perfect because it's not always going to be, especially maybe even a coffee chat. So you guys, can you ask Laura questions? Maybe this is just meant to be where if she can't hear me, you guys ask her questions. I mean, there's again, I just want to reiterate that there's so many things that we can talk about with regards to a byproduct of abandonment. You know, do you show up in your life? Let me get her back. Laura, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Jennifer, I'm not sure. You guys ask Laura questions, but okay, here's some other byproducts. Is it maybe you feel like you're inferior? That's what I wanted to talk to Laura about. Does she feel inferior? Do you guys ever feel inferior in your life? Like like she said, you know, this person's good at this and somebody else is, you know, they're good at it, but I'm not. Does that ever show up for you? Or, you know, one of my favorites that we already did talk about though, is being a martyr. Because when you have a spirit of rejection, can you hear me?
I can see you now and I can hear you. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, it's not your fault, girl. It's look, I don't sweat anything on this show because it is meant to be. I was just what I was talking about. Hopefully you can hear me for a while. I was talking about how I did research and I was looking at Matthew 21 and in there it talks about how you ask God if you believe he will give it to you in prayer. And I was like, the trust issues in me for so long was like, please, really? Like I asked for a pony. Okay, where's the pony?
Exactly.
And, but what I learned is, first of all, we need to ask him and believe that we trust his will. And second of all, we want to ask and pray for things that are going to bring him glory.
That's
So
right.
talk about that with your faith journey, if that, if that speaks to you at all,
About
because I'm sure there was times as a little girl, you might have been praying going, where is Jesus? I don't even know.
Okay, well, actually, yes, there was a morning. It was storming outside. It was after my mom had left, and I remember laying in bed. We were in our townhouse apartment in Indiana, and I was laying in bed. I think I was probably 8 or 9, and I missed her terribly. And I remember holding a Bible. I remember holding it, but I still thought God was something, an entity that was way far away. Like, why are you even gonna even think about me? Like, who am I? So I
Right.
just held on to I needed something tangible. And I really I felt a peace that I couldn't describe then. I can describe it now as an adult and having really gotten to know Jesus. He was gonna be the one that would not leave me. He was going to be the one that was going to show me. And he showed me in a Psalm 27:10. He said, even if my mother and father abandon me, the Lord will hold me close. And he did. He did. It wasn't a
Hmm.
perfect walk. I'm not walking a perfect walk. It is far from perfect. I mean, ask my family, ask other people, because sometimes I walk in that insecurity that I have nothing valuable to offer. Because if my mom could leave me, really, the most important person at that moment in my life, if she could do it, then I mean, why is anybody, what do I have to offer? It's that. It was that. And so it was, but the Lord brought people in my life in different sprinkles of him through older women.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about you
Yeah.
because I'm older than you, but I'm talking about older women teaching me. But then people like you, I have a very small core of people that I trust, because like you, I don't trust very easily,
Right.
because
Yes.
are you going to stay? Are you going to stick around when I'm not so pretty? No, I don't mean pretty vanity. I mean pretty like I'm in a good mood. Okay. Are you going to hang out when I'm having a bad day? Are you going to hang out when I'm not what you think I ought to be? Because I played that. I played that. That's the people pleasing part that I played.
We all had conversations, the three of us, talking about that in tears, saying, like, what if we all each individually with our own story said, just literally in tears, saying, what if you knew the real me? I don't know that you would love me.
Oh my gosh.
And we
I
all we
remember
all committed to one another. It
it's
it it could get
right.
as ugly as ugly. Our stories could get as ugly as possible.
Yeah,
We committed. We would love each other, not in non-judgment, to be able to
right,
really take it all off
right,
in full metaphorical nakedness, and because that is that love of Jesus, and we needed to be able to do that with one another, and yeah.
right, right.
Um,
I think the
and the other,
difference is,
that
go ahead.
no, you go.
I was just going to say the difference I think now is not like, okay, I'm all good and I'm all,
Right.
the perfect Christian. Oh, for the love. No, I'm not. But I do think the difference is I don't stay in that muck. I won't stay there. Like,
Yes.
Lord,
Yes.
like I mean, I messed up bad. And I'm coming, he's trying to detox that mindset that I've held very close. It's very familiar. It's like an old coat that is way too icky for me to wear, but I'm still liking it because it's familiar and it's comfortable. But it
Hmm.
doesn't fit me anymore. So I've got to,
I
he's like
love that.
taking off all that crap, if I can say that on YouTube. But
Yep. You can, because we're walking in it many days, and there's no shame in that. And two, like, I don't remember. I think you might have talked about this, if you've ever had ever restored, ever had a chance to restore your relationship with your mom. I don't think that you did you have that chance?
no, well, no. I wanted to. She got very, very sick. Let's see, my oldest was 3. She was very, very sick, and my half brother, the brother that grew up with her, he called me and said, I don't think it's really good. And so I tried very hard to get a plane, a flight to her. And that, I don't know if you remember, that was in the time where we had like 7 hurricanes, one right after the other. It was back in
Yes.
2003, I think, or 4. And she passed away. But I will tell you what was healing for me when it came to her. I went through counseling. It was a very good 3 years of hard counseling, but I had to go through it. But the beautiful thing, the best gift she gave me, and she probably, I mean, I hope one day she realizes in heaven, is in her obituary. My brother sent it to me, and she said, or it said, you know, who it was, and then she listed her children, and I was in that. My name was in that. So she still observed us, the other 3. We were still, she felt that. I mean, she left, that was a gift to me. That was a gift to me, that I was acknowledged. I was acknowledged.
Just that she possibly has no idea what that meant for you. Just to see
Oh
your
my gosh.
name, just to hear
It was
that form of acceptance.
total game changer.
Hmm.
Yep. I was acknowledged by someone that was the most important person in my world at that time. I was finally acknowledged. I've never actually said that out loud.
Wow.
I've never even said that before. So that's interesting. That's I'm gonna have to think about that. I'm gonna have to journal about that. I've never said that before.
How important that was to you, that she
to be acknowledged by my mother.
To be acknowledged. Mm-hmm. So right there, let's stay on that point for a second. To be acknowledged. That phrase is so powerful, because that's the hidden truth within possibly a lot of us. I just want to be seen. You're a 7-year-old little girl. You didn't know what you did wrong. You just wanted to be acknowledged. And so then we go through our life, you know, like maybe like Veruca from Willy Wonka. I want to be seen, and I want to be seen now. Or when we feel a spirit, that's where that spirit of rejection comes from, which makes us feel angry. Like when you're feeling angry at your kids and Sean calls, maybe you're feeling angry because maybe it's sometimes it's rooted in us. We're not doing enough. They're not acting right. So it's my fault. Everything's my fault. And it doesn't matter. Something causes that anger.
Yes.
But what I wanted to point out, Laura, is that on this show, and everything, every bit of what I do, the phrase is reveal to heal. We have to reveal the truth. We have to pull off the top layers of the onion. That's the part that we show the world. And like I said, deep in the onion is where it makes us cry. We have to reveal all those layers in order to heal. And we want to do that for ourselves, but we often forget, and it's so hard with our offenders or people that have just hurt us or they've caused us pain or shame, that everybody has a story. And I wonder, not that you have to talk about it, but I'm just curious, did you ever learn more about your mom's story and where her pain might have been rooted? Because then it becomes a generational chain of blame and shame and hurt and fear and guilt.
I wish I could say yes. I wish I could say yes. I can look at it now as an adult. I mean, there's always going to be that 7-year-old. It's just how I approach. It's how that 7-year-old. It's like it's where the Lord said, you're going to have to go back, but I'm going to go back with you as you retake these steps and gain a different perspective, but with me leading you. I wish I could say yes. I know something about her, but I can say this. She probably was in a place of insecurity herself. My dad was in Vietnam. My dad was in the military. He was gone a lot, and she was probably very lonely. She had 3 children, and she was young. I can probably infer maybe what she was feeling or thinking, and maybe felt like it was all she could do. I don't know. But what's different is there's no more anger. Like, I don't have anger with that. What I'm trying to work through is my perception of that 7-year-old healing every day through the lens of who God says I am, not who I think I am or what other people think I am or what they think I should be. It's I'm okay. I'm learning. I'm a work in progress, and I'm not going to be defined by those kind of circumstances because it goes against everything Jesus says. I mean, it goes against everything he said. So I wish I knew more about her, but I'm just going to stand and believe that at that time she believed that's all she could do to survive.
And I pray that deep within your soul, in the deep, deep parts of every root that's in you, I pray that if you haven't already, that you can really, really trust that it wasn't about you. There is nothing that a 7-year-old could do to have their mom leave. It was something within your mom. And I know that it's shown up as a byproduct in your life, but through the love of Jesus, through the work that you've done, through the sisters that you clung to, that you could trust, that tribe of women, all these beautiful little sprinkles in your life. I know through talking to you that you have had healing in that. Although can we never ever have full healing because it hurts. Let's be real.
Right.
That onus is off of you, off of your shoulders. That it was never ever about you.
Right. And that right there took a while because, and I think that again, when we talk about the residual feelings of, okay, if I clean this better, if I do this better, they're not going to leave. She's not going to leave. He's not going to leave. If I can be this awesome, perfect mom, then my kids are going to, you know, it's all of that. I'm aware of it. I'm aware that is something that I struggle with, and I'm very honest about it. I have to be. Before it used to be in the closet, and it's like you stay in the closet where you belong. I'm going to be all this because I've spent a lifetime perfecting the. I'm good. I've spent time perfecting that, and it's exhausting. Let me just say, it's exhausting.
And that's why, you know, panic attacks, anxiety, y'all. Don't hide from that. Reveal it out.
Right.
Find somebody that you can talk to.
Right.
Yes, we are talking about the love of Jesus. Absolutely. Practically here on earth, you have to find somebody that's not going to sit with you in the well. They're going to help give you some practical advice. Laura, my phone's about to die, and I have to say this to you because you know I trust in the Holy Spirit promptings of the promptings of the Holy Spirit. That's the Holy Spirit. Best way to describe it is the supernatural of God showing up in the natural of every day, and that's why I'm passionate about God sprinkles. Laura, what number did I text you? I just saw this and I got a chill go down my spine. What number did I text you yesterday about to remind me what you said about it?
7.
Yes. And I was so disappointed, remember, because I was doing the math and I said, because I feel like I'm in a state of spiritual completeness, although we're always on a journey. But I was disappointed because I actually realized, I thought it was 7 years ago that you guys baptized me, but I was like, oh man, I didn't carry the one. It was only 6. I just looked down at my paper. I did not even remember at all that you and I talked about this. I don't know if you can see it.
Not really.
But it's the number. It's right here. It's the number 7. I wrote it in quotes. Because right next to it, it says spiritual completeness. Girl, you were 7 years old when your mama left. And you know what? To me, it's
I am getting chills. Look at this. Look at it. Now these aren't pimples. These aren't pimples.
Gosh.
Look at the hair
girl,
on my
girl, I have eczema.
Okay.
I have eczema. I thought it was a chill.
I know.
My bumpy skin.
Listen. I got lots of hair on my arms because I'm Puerto Rican. So
look,
it's crazy.
And this Greek Lebanese girl feels you, girl. I get you. This mustache, unibrow, all that. But listen to me. That number 7, I wrote it down in quotes, and it's like a little whisper because I didn't even remember writing it down, and I texted you about that number, and I feel like that number is supposed to come full circle for you right now because that little girl was nowhere near spiritual completeness, but that little 7-year-old was in the first steps when your mom left to this testimony that you would be walking to one day have a story to tell, to shine that light and that story out on other people. But yes, great for other people. Great that you have the story to tell. But most of all, the healing that's happened in your life, the healing and love that you've been able to give to your kids. And you know what I feel defines a good mama is not one that gets it right. You know, you have been able to share your testimony and your journey. And the best part is you get to share your mistakes and your faux pas and your Ursula
Yeah.
moments, because they're going to be
Lot.
mamas and wives one day. And maybe your mom couldn't handle that she was showing up in a certain way and didn't know at all how to heal it. And she just needed to go. But wow, the full circle for you. What a beautiful thing.
Yep.
That number
Yeah.
7.
I'm just
I know
I'm
we
just
only have.
so thankful for you.
I'm thankful for you. I love you so much. You are such
I
an
love you
important
too.
part of my testimony. And when I'm dunked in this water tomorrow, I'm going to be thinking about that first time. And that's why, you know, that spiritual completeness was so important for me, because man, was I just a different person. That Laura, I know you got to go and my phone's going to die. If it dies, it dies. But for
Okay.
people that do not know Jesus at all, can you tell them where, like, have you always believed? And where would you say that, where would you suggest that they start if they don't have any idea where to start? They're like, what you guys are talking about is nonsense. Speak to them as
Well,
we
I,
wrap up.
I went to church with a friend. The first she invited me to a musical, and it was the resurrection of Christ. And I'm like, oh great, here I am sitting in my car going, am I going to be able to not have a cigarette for the 2 hours I'm going to be in that show? I mean, I'm telling you, I'm like, I don't know if I can even, that.
I need to.
I don't know about it.
I'm gonna put my cig out, and I'm gonna trust this thing.
Yeah, my hand's going to start shaking because I don't have a cigarette. So
Did you go in because they had wine? Is that what it was?
Girl, please. I went home and I had, oh my gosh, what just happened to me? No, she had been praying for me. I didn't know this, but she invited me to this play and something happened. I mean, she invited me to church. I went to church. I went to youth group, all of those things, and just listened. I had nothing to say. No one, don't even think about asking me anything because I don't know anything. Not like that. Not like you guys. I thought, okay, if I open my mouth, they're probably going to kick me out because I'm going to go into the fire or something. And I just went to church and I just listened, and the Holy Spirit grabbed me. I mean, that's all I can say. It wasn't like, there was this, oh my gosh, I want that.
Yeah.
But then life. But it's a thread. It's a woven thread. But someone invited me to church, and I went.
Yeah.
With my cigarette.
With your cigarette.
With my
Your
cigarette.
pack of smokes.
I love my Jesus.
We joke about how we're in traffic, we're just like screaming, and that version of us comes out, but you look down and you're like, you're wearing your I Love Jesus t-shirt, and you're like, dang it if I didn't get it, dang it. Oh man.
Right.
Oh girl, I'm gonna let you go because I know you got this
Okay.
girl. You work with kids at a school, and you need to get back there. It's all breaking loose.
Where's Miss Miller? I need help. I know. I do too.
Look, I want to have you back again sometime
I'd love
soon
it.
when our signal is strong and I'm in the Cubbyhole.
Okay.
But this has been a beautiful, beautiful experience having a sister on, one of the first women that I could really, really trust with the truth and all that. So I love you. Mwah.
I love you so much, and I'll be with you in spirit tomorrow. Mwah.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Bye,
Laura.
Bye.
Okay, everybody. Bye. Okay, so I am still here with you. But I'm going to take Laura. I'm going to take Laura out there. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining. Oh, see, you learn so much on these coffee chats. You know, you just got to roll with it. But one of the things that Laura talked about was about an anchor. And as she was talking, she was just picturing, she was mentioning Jesus being her anchor. And the beautiful metaphor that came to my mind, the beautiful visual was, you know, when you pull an anchor out of the water and it has all that muck, all that seaweed, just picture that seaweed as your anxiety, your truths, your ugly truths, your frustrations, all those versions of you that steer your bus, all that stuff, that muck. She said she wears her muck boots. Just imagine all that seaweed attached to that anchor, and it's just buried deep in the water. But Jesus is the anchor, and you pull it back up, and he's got it. You lay it there. It's like laying it at the foot of the cross. Lay it on the anchor of him, and let that be the anchor in your life. Look, you may be going, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't even want to hear it. Just have faith. If you are walking through some stuff, like I said, like Laura as a 7-year-old, that was the really beginning phase of her journey. You're walking a journey. And you are not alone. You are loved, and you are seen. That's what this show is all about, is letting you know that you are seen and your story matters. So if you're feeling some stuff, grab a journal, start writing out whatever that stuff is, what makes you angry, what makes you feel with blame, shame. And you can come and join me. I'm going to be having, I'm going to start doing some sessions where I just go on and we just talk through a couple little bits. And it's bit by bit, nugget by nugget, that we can walk through. When we reveal what's going on, bit by bit, we can heal what's going on. I could just sit here and talk to y'all for so long. I am so excited to be baptized in this water again, because this is a girl with trust issues. I used to sit in church and go, I don't know what they're talking about. But I now have come full circle in my life. I'm not going to get everything right, but my anchor is in Jesus, and I want to proclaim that for myself and just a couple of other people tomorrow here in the water. So I'm sending you all love, so much love to you. And next week I will be back live again in the Cubbyhole. Bye, everybody.